On May 12th, 2025, I had a late night flight from Bhubaneswar to Mumbai, and since the flight was delayed, I decided to read a book that I was carrying. The moment I started reading that book, it almost felt so poetic and coincidental because when I was thousands of feet above the Earth's surface, I was reading about a book where the characters were exactly that, but way, way higher and outside of the Earth's orbit. This book is called The Orbital. Splendid book, and I'm glad I came across it. This book won the 2024 Booker Prize. Samantha Harvey is the author, and I'm blown away by the writing. Exceptionally splendid and poetic. I've read books about space before, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which was most part sci-fi, and it was very, very interesting. But I had never come across anything like this. So this book is not plot-driven, and if you're going into it thinking about some suspenseful thing that is happening in the end, you're going to be disappointed. But it'll delight you and surprise you in ways you had never imagined. So there are 6 astronauts picked from different countries on Earth to go to the space station, which is parked right outside the Earth's orbit, and their job is to orbit the Earth 16 times a day. And yeah, just like Sunita Williams, they are supposed to be there for 9 months of a year. That's kind of their job as cosmonauts. Before this, I hadn't really thought what astronauts did up there in space, except what I visualized was their bodies floating and they're pushing some buttons and they were staring at Earth from that afar. But this book gives you a whole new perspective on life, on the meaning of life, of your existence in this universe, and it'll give you very thought-provoking sentences. Now, these guys are away from Earth. They have their family left behind, and they keep questioning, is it really worth becoming an astronaut when you know you may never come back? Will you still choose to go to Mars or any other planet if you knew your spaceship could blow away in seconds while the whole Earth was watching? Would you still do it? And the answers from such ambitious people is always a resounding yes. Because no matter how high the profession you choose on Earth, be it the President of the United States or the World Bank or whatever you do, there is nothing beyond choosing to be an astronaut. That is the highest ambition there is. And these 6 people are both elated to be in space and also ostracized, yet they feel this strong pull towards their homeland. No matter where they go in the universe, they will always be defined by their existence on Earth, and they keep thinking about Earth. They describe themselves as observers because when they look at Earth from that far a distance, all they can think about is, why do we have these political divides when from space it's just the boundary between the land and the water? There is no other boundary that exists. So Earth was practically defined and shaped by these politicians who are in a tussle of power. But do we stop to realize that nature will triumph always? There is a storm developing over Philippines, which hasn't landed in Philippines yet. But these guys, these astronauts can see it way before anybody else can. Their job is to take as many pictures as possible and warn the people on Earth. But even when they can see the future, which hasn't happened yet, can they really do anything about it? No, they can't. And that's why they're just observers, just watching how nature can be so powerful as to give them beautiful things like earth, and yet it has as much power to destroy it, take that very life away from us in seconds. The book explores the stories of all these six astronauts, how they became what they are today, what led them to their choices. I especially liked the story of this Japanese woman who is Chie, and all the tiny little things that happened in her own and her family's life that kind of shaped her as she is. I might be giving it away when I say that if her mother, if her grandmother hadn't taken a day's leave on that fateful day where she had to take Chie's mother now. Okay, forget it. I'm messing it up. But yeah, the point was there is a whole connection between her and how her family's choices led her to becoming an astronaut of all the professions that she could choose. You know, she holds a picture of herself and her mother very close to her heart, even in space. It's a picture of her mother holding Chie in her hands, and in the background, in this, you can see the first ever moon landing launch happening. In the sky, you can see a trail of smoke going, and it was so poetic because years later, that picture would have predicted Chie's future. And that's why she holds it so close to her heart. She learns that her mother has died on Earth, and she ponders. She's heartbroken, but she ponders, if I don't go back to Earth, will it really have happened? Will it really be true? Because I'm away. I'm not in Earth's time anymore. I'm in a different limbo here where time doesn't really exist, and so nothing can be real. They orbit the Earth 16 times a day, which means they are running on an accelerated time. The concept of time is really warped there, and all they have are endless thoughts, and yet every thought is so poetic that you have to read. I had to read many parts of this book again and again to cherish them, to cherish the choice of words and the depth that it contained. In a way, this book is a love letter to the universe and the beauty of Earth. It can also be called a climate fiction in some parts. But yeah, I'm really glad I came across this book. And this book is going to be staying with me like poetry years to come.